All right, so a lot to unpack this chapter. 1169 was kind of crazy. In terms of happenings, not so much, but given what happened and like some of the revelations that we got, we kind of have some stuff to discuss over here today. So, it's been more than a week. 1169's out. Honestly, pretty great. Kind of left in the suspense. 1170 is out, and I still haven't watched it, so I don't know anything about it. But basically, let's just dive in chronologically because it just makes sense for this one. So we start off with seeing that Shanks is actually on Elbaf right now, and he's talking to the guy's name, Gaban. Yeah, he's talking to Gaban, and basically he's kind of telling. He finds out that Ace has been born, or Roger has a son, and considers him to be his brother, rightfully so. This kind of dissuades some of my theories regarding Shanks and Shamrock. I think Shanks is the one who is not. He's not in control of. I would say, he and Shamrock, I don't think are switching places anymore. I think it's Shanks doing whatever the hell he's doing. I don't know why he gets really uncharacteristic sometimes. It could be because of the other thing that has been happening, so I don't know. We'll come to that a little later, but basically, I don't think that Shamrock and Champs are switching places. If they are, it could still be a thing, but it's very unlikely given what we're seeing over here so far. And I think it was right now Shanks who gave the key to Fisher Tiger during this cape, because it seems like he's still on the side of good. I'm not sure anymore. I don't think it's Shamrock. Shamrock seems like the more calculated villain over here. Not 100% sure about this theory so far. I would say, while before my alignment with the theory was about 70%, it's fallen down to about 40-30% that Shanks and Shamrock switch places sometimes. Okay. That being said, we kind of see that Harold is starting to attack other people. He still has some sense of his doing at the moment, but he kind of starts attacking people, and he's kind of surprised that he's not able to have any control over it, which makes sense given the contract he's entered with Emu. It's something that allows Emu to control him. It's crazy that he's been able to resist it for this long. But yeah, it's something that's going to. He can clearly see it's something that's going to consume him. So basically, we see Loki and Jarul arrive as well, and they start. They try to see the situation. So before Loki and Jarul arrive. Harold tells his subordinates to kill him before anything happens. But when Loki and Gerald arrive, they see that the guards have tried to kill Harold, but he is not dying because, of course, he has a regenerative powers. And it's crazy to see that, like, this person who has dedicated. In this chapter, we kind of understand how much time Harold has dedicated his life to right Elbaf strong. He has dedicated 144 years to this. Like, I don't think you don't understand this, that the way it has been portrayed in the comics so far, it's like Harold got an idea, he dedicated a few years to it, and he kind of like went past it. Basically, he basically got his achievement of something, but it has actually been 144 years for him to get through this. 104, and like, I think a lot of microsms for Harold would have been like, he was rushing it too much. No, he was not. Like for me, I was surprised at the scale of time that Harold had passed over for getting Elbaf included in the world government. But now that he puts it in context that it's 144 years, I can see how someone would get so desperate by that time. And I completely forgive Harold for any kind of decisions he made, because they were not at all rash decisions. 144 years is a freaking long time. But I feel like even with the amount of due diligence that he went through, he fell into this trap which he literally can't get out of. It's crazy. Anyway, we see that Harold is starting to regenerate, and he needs other people to hold him down. And he understands that it's not something that he's going to be able to overcome. Before this, we also do get some clear ideas from Shanks about the levels of the contract. So apparently, Shanks, the contract that Shanks and Harold had entered before, the Shallow Sea contract, basically allowed Emu to have control over them as long as they were within a certain range, not all around. But the Deep Sea and the Deep Sea contract allowed Emu to have control over them over long ranges, which is kind of bad. Like, Shanks kind of screwed Harold over by moving away from this, because he was supposed to be the one who was supposed to have the deep sea contract. But because he went missing, Harold ended up with the contract, which led him to this situation over here. So on one hand, I'm happy. I won't say I don't know how I feel about Shanks not being under Emu's control. Obviously, like, there's a good thing. It's a good thing that he got to meet Luffy and everything because of that. But on the other side of things, I think that, like, Harold did not deserve this fate, and I kind of feel bad for Harold. I kind of feel like Shanks is kind of responsible for Harold. And to be honest, given what we see by the end of this chapter, I think Shanks also feels like he's kind of responsible for Harold's state at the moment. So coming back to the incident in the castle, we see that after Loki and Jarul come, they kind of start pinning Harold down, and Harold is basically, they're the only ones capable of pinning Harold down, because they're the most experienced warriors, and Harold is like a crazy beast. And he literally says to Loki that, hey, tell the entire world what happened here. Tell that I was a horrible king, that I was almost on the verge of selling our own people out, which honestly I don't believe he was. Like, there was a point where I would have believed that, but given all that I've seen from Harold so far, I don't think he was ever willing to sell his people. But I think he was trying to frame it in such a way that Loki could have the higher ground when he became the eventual king. That is an interesting take to take, but and shows why Loki kind of still disses his father in the present, because that's a request from his father, which kind of hurts to see, because Loki, this was the only blood related parent of his that cared so much about it, and for him to just diss his father like that is crazy. But this brings me to a really weird inconsistency Oda has sometimes. It's the fact that, like, they'll do one part of, like, the will of the person that died, but they won't do the other. They won't say what happened. They won't talk about the Emu thing with anybody. They just keep everything in silence and just do the one thing that would make them the most hated person in the world. It's crazy. Like, come on, man, just say that he was under control, and he literally he was literally killing people. That's why we had to put him down. He was a good king, but there was no other reason. Like, you don't have to just badmouth your dad the entire time, something that you know that everyone's gonna hate you for, which is a weird thing that Oda does sometimes. But you know what? For the sake of the story, we'll give that a pass. But still, I really don't want to give it a pass, you know? Anyway, coming to, okay, so we kind of see that while Harold says this, we kind of see that there's apparently a fruit in Elbaf which could stop the regeneration of Harold, which is an insane thing because that would literally counter Domi ability, one of Domi ability. Not everything about Domi. I think the end all of Domi control still lies with Luffy's fruit, because it is the fruit of liberation. But the fact that there's a fruit, like Hal literally says that this fruit can actually help in this case, and it seems to be related to stopping the regenerative properties of Harold. So I'm pretty excited to see. And apparently, given what we know so far, so he basically tells Aldejarl to let Loki eat it, and Loki should be the one to eat it. So I'm guessing Loki does have a devil fruit. Haven't seen it in news. And this never. It could be that the chains that were holding him because they were made of sea stone, probably. That's a lot of sea stone, to be honest. That's a lot of sea stone. To hold a giant the size of Loki, that's a lot of sea stone if it was holding Loki, if those chains were holding Loki to the World Tree. Either way. So Loki, so Harold tells Eldejarl that Loki should be eating it, and then we kind of see Harold completely succumb to Emu. Now, we all knew this was going to happen. It was like Harold is supposed to die by the end of this, and we kind of know that this is going to happen, but I really wanted it to be on his terms in a way that he could talk to his son at the end. Probably by the end of this, he will be able to talk to his son one more time. But I kind of feel bad. So we kind of see Harold completely succumb to Emu's control, and it seems that Emu himself wants that fruit. Like, this fruit is really important to him. It's like a keystone to his world end all plan. And we don't know what's going on here. Like, I really want to read the next chapter as soon as possible to know what the fruit is, so that we can move forward from this, because it's like throwing a little bit of a suspense over here. Anyway, we see Shanks and Gyaban, sensing the hockey coming from the castle, go and basically try to stop Harold themselves, which is really weird. I'll tell you, this is the second weird thing that happened in this chapter, other than the Loki not telling everybody the entire truth. The fact that Gyaban knew what was happening, like he got intel from Shanks regarding how Harold was being controlled, right? He got everything, but he did not help Loki out. He's been on the island for what? Let's say, let's say Luffy's 19 right now. I think 19, 20, maybe probably 21. Okay, 21 years. 21 years. And let's say Ace was just born, and Ace is maybe like 2 years older than Luffy. So he's been on the island for 23 years without helping Loki out, even though he knew the shit. This is weird, okay? Like, you knew what happened. You actually knew what happened, and you just chose not to do anything. This guy who has been tormented his entire fucking life. You have a kid. Do you think that kid, you would let that kid go through all that shit? I mean, like, some of the characters, man, like, I guess to make storytelling, but some of the characters behave so irresponsibly sometimes. Anyway, I'm kind of mad at Gyaban for Loki. Like, you were just that was just a piece of shit move to do. Honestly, even Shanks, man, like, come on, man, like, you could have just gone and told an entire island what was happening, and Loki would have been spared being chained to a tree for fucking 22 years. Like, come on. Anyway, moving on. So we kind of do see Shanks and Gyaban, no matter how much of an asshole they were in this situation, come and try to help Harold, try to get him out of it. But it seems like Harold is not really listening to anyone anymore. He's completely under control of Emo, and he basically is on the warpath to give the island and the giants to Emo. And we kind of see that Loki's running to get this fruit that Harold told him to eat. And once we enter this, an interesting sequence of things happen. So when he enters this room, what happens is there's a chest and there's a hammer, something that I didn't notice the first time I read the chapter. And given that this is kind of based off of Norse mythology, and the fact that the last panel of this thing, I believe the hammer is Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, which is very interesting because while Loki is mentioned, there's no mention of Thor. I don't know if they're going to do anything. They probably won't, because Oda doesn't use like main characters from not any kind of mythology, I think, as the thing, as their character names. But I'm guessing the hammer, the way it moved by itself, like literally moved by itself in trying to strike Loki. So there's some sort of protection thing that goes on in it is basically protecting that fruit. So the hammer just literally flew at Loki, trying to stop him from getting the fruit, which is an interesting thing, because I would really like to know what that was, because given everything, given the theme of Elbaf, it's definitely Mjolnir, but I don't know who's controlling it or how it is being controlled. The closest I can think of is the magnet fruit, the one that Kid has, basically. But I do not think that is the case, because it just wouldn't make sense storytelling wise. I might be proven heavily wrong in the next chapter, but I'm gonna stick with that. So yeah, a lot of amazing things in this chapter. Kind of feel bad for Harold, and kind of feel bad for Loki. Honestly, I feel more bad for Loki than Harold. Outside of his father and mother, outside of his father in this situation, all the adults in this area just behaved like stupids, like absolute stupids. Like 22 years. How do you let someone suffer for 22 years when you know something happened? I'll give a pass to Eldajarul. Eldajarul forgot about everything. What the fuck about Gavan? What the fuck about Shanks, man? 22 years you would let Loki suffer like that? I know he's a giant. He probably has centuries to live for. But freaking 20, are you guys, man? Like, what bullshit sometimes these guys pull. Anyway, that's about it. I hope you guys liked it. I am psyched about the next chapter. I'm probably going to read it right after this. If you guys liked the video, consider leaving a like down below and subscribe to the channel. I've been Korogami. I'll see you guys in the next one.